What's up, fellas? Let's do this. Welcome to Tuesday at Two Line Slot Cars. And, it's been, last night's stream was great. A little bit of interaction in the chat beforehand. Good stuff. Good to be here on a Tuesday. The next couple of days, I'm going to a Cincinnati Reds game tomorrow night, and I'm going to watch tennis. The ATP Tour is in Cincinnati this week, and so we're going to go, my wife and I are going to go watch some tennis on Thursday. So I took a couple days off of work. So hopefully at some point on those days, I'll get some slot car time, maybe record my videos for this weekend, get some content created. But Slot Our Hair Gel wins. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. So who all do we have in the house? Patrick, Curvy Road, Chris, John Tucci, welcome. DeFingers, you are the legend, brother. Hope you're feeling better. You're out of the woods, hopefully. And Patrick, I was just looking at a bunch of fly cars for $25 to $35. That's a good price if you can find them that way. Right now, they are skyrocketing. It's hard to find the cars that you would want. There's a lot of different cars. And everybody has different taste. I get that. But my eye is on the classic stuff, and the classic stuff is going for big money. I bought a handful of cars last week off of Bruce at Cincy Slots. Got a decent deal on them, I think. John Albright. Stay tuned for this week's episode of Adventures with Fly. Yeah. Well, got a couple of issues with some fly cars, so maybe I can get some opinions. John and I were talking last night about one of the fixes I need to do, but we can talk about that. One of the things I wanted to talk about was repairing some fly cars. I want to talk about fly cars a little bit. I think there's people either love them or hate them. I sort of become addicted to them, mainly because I love that they do all these classic liveries. They're fantastic. And this little car is a runner, man, the 908. Whew, it's quick. So quick that it gets great traction and strips the back wheel off all the time. So that's one of the fixes I need to do, is fix that back wheel. So I think I've got a game plan for that. And then the other one is Chris Fretter sent me this car to mess around with, and it was a parts car. And Chris, that back, I put tires on it. Got this thing. I did a little bit of tuning. Some things that I like to do to cars. And this thing is flying around the track. And then the rear wheel failed. Went around the turn, and all of a sudden I heard the wheel fly off and go scooting across the track. And that's the classic fly broken hub that John Albright and I were talking about. My other wheel is not broken, but that one is. So if anybody's got a lead on buying some of these wheels, or do you just have to buy another fly car and scrap it, or are there wheels out there from other brands that fit it well? I guess I could look at some aluminum wheels for this car. But, man, I really like the 5-spoke that come on them. So I'd like to keep it as original as possible, but it's a great car. Chris, if I get it fixed, maybe I should send it back to you so you can fly it around your track. So, yeah, it's been a fun little car. I've gotten a lot of laps in on that with that car. So who else do we have? Patrick, I said, Daryl is in the house. Mine is so I can see them pass me because I usually broke my mirrors off and can't see them coming. Well, speaking of broken mirrors, well, it's over on the track. My M6A, which is one of my favorite cars to drive right now. I love getting laps in with that thing. But it is definitely all the mirrors are broken off of them. But I did find the mirrors, so that's a plus. Yes, John, I agree. Fly cars can be decent runners with a bit of tuning. Again, I always say this: if you're running them in class together, they'll be very competitive with each other. What you can't count on is the consistency from the motor. This one probably has lots of laps on it. Chris probably drove it a lot. Motor's probably broke in pretty good. It's pretty quick. This one out of the box was flying. It ran a 7 flat with the magnet in it before I put silicone tires on it. Like, it screamed. And I think it's just short wheelbase, but the motor in it is really, really strong. But some of them aren't that way. So let's see here. DeFingers, Patrick. Hey, Dan's in the house. 3 Bean Raceway. Good to have you, Dan. Curvy. Jeff G is in the house. Jeff, welcome. Yeah, Daryl, did I break a car? I'm always breaking cars. Mine are always looking for the track bunnies. I'm already way behind on the comments, but those are all comments from earlier. Hey, Dave, you do you, man. Whatever you need to do. I just appreciate you tuning in for a few minutes, and I'll try not to waste your time. So we'll get right into it tonight. So I appreciate you. Let's see. Who else? Who else do we have? Sean Casey is in the house. Hey, Sean. Welcome. Fly with a 3D chassis or almost NSR level. That's I've got a buddy that's got a 3D printer, and he was actually in the live stream last week, in the chat for a few minutes. Eli, my friend. And he is supposed to print a couple of chassis for me for the 908, 917, I think. So we'll mess around with it. Oh, no, the Flunder. So he has printed a 3D chassis for me, so we'll try that, see how it works. Let's see here. George, welcome. Good to have you, man. I noticed you put a video out earlier, part 2 of the TrackMate. I'm looking at either TrackMate. I don't love the software. I know that it's the software that everybody uses. The software looks a little dated to me. That's probably because I'm used to using Smart Race, which looks so modern. I love how Smart Race works, but it in analog mode, there's some things that you can't do that I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to be able to do track calls and things like that. So I'm looking at adding a computer, and I've looked at Race Coordinator, which I kind of like the look of, and I've watched some videos online of people who use it, and it seems to work really well. I need to reach out to the guy that does Race Coordinator, see what I need, but I still need a timing system. And then Electric Dreams. A lot of you, we talked about it a little bit last night. A lot of you watched the stream from Electric Dreams, the USA Nationals, sponsored by Slotted. There was a lot going on, a lot of people there. They even had a lot of spectators for the slot car race. I thought was pretty cool. So I thought we'd get into that a little bit. Greg, why are you guys lining up to watch Marty? Awesome. He is the gel. I don't use hair gel. I use pomade. We won't get into my hair product. So Gary, welcome. Yes, Chris, my wife was tired of my really, really long hair, so I got it cut, and she still says it's not short enough, but that's all right. Hey, Dust, bourbon. got 2 words, 1 word for you, bourbon. Slot Car 2021, welcome. Let's see here. Who else do we have that we missed? Hey, Scott Marble, welcome. Greg at Clearwater is in the house. Nick. Oh, yeah, Curvy. Once I figure out your name, I usually like to call you by your real name and not your handle, if I can figure that out. But I will tell you that it's getting harder and harder to remember everybody, which is pretty cool. It's a cool problem. Hey, Cyberg. Hey, Frankie. Welcome. Jamie. Thanks, man. Good to have you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, need to talk about cars, man. With Cincy Slots releasing the race schedule, I've got a couple of cars that I can't use that I was hoping to use this season. Bruce is going to force me into buying another couple Revo slots because he won't let me race the 333. But anyway, so we'll have to have a conversation. Hey, AJ, welcome. Hey, Dave. Travis, what's up, man? Travis, are you home in Austria? Or are you in the airport someplace getting ready to fly to Austria? Are you in New York getting ready to make the trip over? Is that why you're able to watch live? Welcome. Had great coverage with the USA Nationals. That would have been fun to get a chance to meet everybody and watch some races. Jim Rose did an awesome job when he was on the mic. Travis, you did a great job when you were on the mic. It would be fun to commentate a slot car race. I can probably talk enough to do that. But those guys were fast, man. That finals, shoo. That was really, really good racing, although it was really just 2 guys. No disrespect to anybody else that weren't in the top 6, but it was Ian's race to lose, and second place was wrapped up by, I'm losing his name. Jocham, right? And he was close. He made it close at the end, but yeah, Ian was just way too good. That car was amazing, and his driving was fantastic. Yep, I agree. Great TrackMate videos. But they were using a different piece of software that I really, really liked. So I may lean that way when I change softwares for the analog side. So because I have analog and digital, the nice thing about the tech slot box or the Axle box is that you can use Smart Race and it still works. I was talking to Joseph today, and how he wired that thing is brilliant, man. And he told me how the Chaos boxes work, so I didn't have to open up the CU. And it was just brilliant thinking. He did an amazing job, and I'm excited to see what else comes down the pike from this stuff. So good stuff. Fly in the Family Stone, which is my wife's favorite Christmas movie. The Family Stone, not Sly, the Family Stone. But anyway, Slot Car Dojo's in the house. Welcome. Someone got a haircut. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for noticing. Still on your way. That's what I figured. All right. I'm going to skim through these and make it. Slot Car. Don't forget, put a Q in front of if you have a question. Do you run your fly cars with magnets? Slot Car 2021. Nope. I pull the magnets out. I usually do some laps before I pull the magnets out to get a idea of what the car is capable of doing with magnets. It's always fun to run some magnet laps, but ultimately when I break them down to tune them, I pull the magnets out because I really enjoy no mag racing. It's a touch slower, but less damage to the cars, and the fly cars look so great. I don't really want to break them up, and so that's no magnets. No problems with running magnets. There are cars that I have that I still have magnets in that I run periodically. I'm not against magnets, but I'm in a pattern right now of racing cars with no magnets. Jamie, no more $25 cars due to this live stream. I don't think I'm responsible. I think the pandemic was responsible for the elevation of fly car prices, to be fair, Jamie. I don't think it's me. Bought a $45 one from Bruce, and Daryl gave me one as well. He's the man. Daryl is the man. Daryl likes to give you a car that he knows it's going to be a challenge to tune, as a life lesson in patience and persistence. More coffee for Dave. Let's see here. Who else? DK Moon, welcome. Fly does some great cars and liveries. Yes, that's what I'm enjoying about the Fly cars, is they do a great job with their bodies. The detail. I mean, if anybody, look at this car. I mean, the engine detail is fantastic. When you take the body off, inside, there is a fire extinguisher glued to the chassis inside. That's the detail level that Fly goes through. And when you put it up against the NSR that looks just like this, only its numbers are green. It's a green 20 instead of blue. The NSR runs better, obviously. But detail-wise, not near the detail that the Fly car has. So that's what Fly has going for it. Performance-wise, I don't think you'll ever get a Fly car to perform up there with the NSRs, but you could probably get it close. Track times. A well-tuned Fly car will run 9 seconds. My fastest Fly car, which is the Flunder, runs 8.99. Okay? This one runs 8.6. So that tells you how quick that little car is. It's nice. I'm really, really happy with it. Rolling through, I am way behind. Hey, Swift Slots, welcome. Dusty, Mr. Albright, couldn't you drill a small hole, put a small set screw, just like aluminum wheels? So I asked that question too, Dusty. I don't know. The wheels are awfully small. I just don't know if you could make that work or not. But I may try it on this broken wheel. And nope, I won't be able to do that on the broken wheel. Never mind. I just don't know how well the plastic would hold. That's my concern. Hey, John Mark, welcome. JMH is in the house. Jim Anthony, welcome. Glad to have you, Jim. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Gene, what's up, Gene? Tomorrow night, Gene will be running his Bud Light Group C car for the first time tomorrow night. I'm excited. Excited for you, Gene. Hopefully you have fun. I'm not going to say hopefully you win. Just go have fun, whatever that looks like. That's the point of doing that. If you win, that's awesome. But if you go have fun, that's the most important part for me. Mainly because I don't have a shot at winning, but definitely not the fastest guy at the track. Johnny Pro is in the house. Welcome. Just ordered the white Fly 917 LH. John, is that the new release that just came out? I love that car. That's that long tail, though. That'll be a fun tune. But that's a great looking car. I love the test liveries. I'm not like Daryl. I don't mind a white car, mainly because they're pretty easy to see on the track. But I really, really like those test liveries. They're cool cars. I loved how I got to drive the Electric Dreams van, Travis. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Great video, Travis. Going 3D chassis and Sidewinder. Oh, cool. That'll be fun. It is a common timing system for wood tracks. You're talking about the TrackMate. Yeah, there's a lot of TrackMates out there. But I noticed that Slot Car Corner doesn't sell the TrackMate kit anymore. They sell some parts, but they don't sell the whole kit like they used to. So I'm struggling to find like the whole thing together. Um, anyway, hey Vin, TrackMate interface with Race Coordinator works well. Vin, do you like Race Coordinator? I've went to the website a lot. I've read a lot about it. I've watched it on, gosh, I cannot remember the guy's name. He's in British Columbia, has a great 3-lane routed track, and he uses Race Coordinator on it. And I really like how he does a bunch of proxy racing. Gosh, I wish I remembered what his name was. It's a great channel. If you like to watch cars race, he's very, very talented driver. And the track is quick, but he does a bunch of proxy races, and I like how Race Coordinator handles, one car in a heat, how he does this proxy races. So I thought that's pretty cool. But yeah, the Race Coordinator will work with lots of different timings. It'll work with dead strips. It'll work with TrackMate. It'll work with they actually push a brand. But when I go to, I forget, Visal maybe. But when I go to their website looks kind of hokey, and so I'm always a little nervous about it. So I've not placed an order or anything yet. But I've really the one they're using at Electric Dreams, I really liked how it superimposed the who was in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth next to the names. So I felt like it was really easy to look at medium lap times, fast laps. I really like how it managed the race. It seemed to do really, really well. I like how it split screen, so you can still watch the results of the heat that just finished and then the lineup of the next heat that flash through, so you could see where you're supposed to be if you're moving to another lane. I think that feature is really nice. I'm losing I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Land Lake. I feel like it was an L word. Is there an L in that word? Is it low? I'm Dapper Dan, man. De Leon, great video, man. I'm glad you had a chance to check it out. All those guys that got to go to the slot car museum, the LA Slot Car Museum, what a car collection. Wow. Very impressive. Very impressive. Greg Gobb posted 2 videos that basically were walkthrough videos of the car collection, the 1-to-1 car collection, and the slot car collection. It's pretty impressive. If I make it out to LA, definitely would have to go visit that if that's open and that's an opportunity. Let's see. Hey Robert, welcome. Along with my cracked fly hubs. Robert, sure. I'm not sure that I have a fix. My cracked hub is pretty bad. I actually even lost pieces to it, I think, on the track when it came apart. So I don't think that one's going to be fixable. Let's see. Daryl likes the longtail Porsches. Yeah. Daryl picked up an SRC longtail Porsche that is so, so cool. I have not seen it on the track yet. Yeah, man, it'd be good to catch up anytime. Austria, well then, but another shrimp on the Barbie. Okay. Hey, Mad P, welcome. Gladstone. Jim Rose is close to you. Great to see, Travis. Gladstone, Jim did an awesome job. Yeah, Travis, he really did an awesome job. He's very comfortable in front of the microphone. Always asked good questions. It was a really great banner. I did come to your defense a little bit, and John Albright told me it's just how the Northern Cal guys are, but I thought that they were giving you a little too hard of a time about your qualifying and your racing. I thought you did a fine job, brother. That was a super intimidating environment to show up and run laps on a car that you did not build. And I'm glad that they put you in that Mazda because it really seemed to calm down and a little easier to drive. So, no. Let's see. Lap Master. Thanks, John. I knew it was an L. I'm not sure why that was hard to remember, but will there be a non-fly fly to go with the non-schematic schematic? Potentially. I know that was supposed to be funny, Dave, but I am considering. I've got one of the fly cars that I absolutely love the body on, but I'm really struggling to get it tuned, and so I'm looking for a different chassis to put underneath of it. And I'm thinking I might try one of the Slottits that's adjustable and see how well it runs with that, and figure out how to mount the body on it. So that would be a non-fly fly car to go along with my non-schematic schematic. I've had a few people ask about the schematic. I added a link to a Google Doc and made it so if you want to go download it, if you go to the part 2 video, it's out there. Don't make too much fun of it. The guys last night were making fun of it that they could not follow it. And if you can't follow that, like in my head, it makes sense. Again, I told you this project was a little crude. Let me know. I can answer any questions. One caveat is I needed to put the warning out there, and I need to put it in the description. Make sure that you remove the jumpers between the lanes on any of the R1 turn curve lane changers. So if you do decide to do that, make sure you pull that out. So yes, Slot R, a non-fly fly coming your way sometime soon. I'm jealous you have Smart Race. In the UK, Carrera is harder to get. Slot R, where did you get your track from? That's a great question. I'm not sure where Dave got his track. He buys a lot of things from Pendle, and I don't know if they carry Carrera cars, I believe. So maybe they carry Carrera track, but I think he's had his track for a while. Let's see here. Slot Car Union in France. There you go. So if I just read down a little further. Hey, Thomas, welcome. First time on the live Tuesdays. Love your channel. I appreciate that, Thomas. Thanks, man. This channel is a lot of fun. I really enjoy the Tuesday nights when we just kind of chat about cars and I answer questions and you guys make fun of my hair and my hair product. It's a lot of fun. I oftentimes leave Tuesday nights thinking that we didn't accomplish anything, and maybe we didn't. But I'm all about bench racing. So, and if that's all we accomplish on Tuesday nights, then that's fine. The last couple times in the last month, we've done race nights. That's been a lot of fun. I know that that's not for everyone. My coverage, if I could get Electric Dreams level coverage for race nights, we'd probably do it a lot more. And if this ever becomes a slot car club, then I will have to up my game because I would want to be able to stream those races. So, but Thomas, thank you very much for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's see here. Electric Dreams has replacement front and rear wheels. Thanks, Chris. I had not had a chance to search today. I had a really busy day at work, mainly because I was prepping. I'm in the middle of a big project that launches September 1st. And so I'm down my last 16 days, and I'm going to be out a few of those days. So I really didn't get a chance on my lunch hours, usually when I catch up with the slot car stuff and answer questions and reply to comments and things like that. So I didn't get to do that today. Slot Car 2020, do you have any fly trucks, Marty? I do not have any fly trucks. The fly trucks look pretty cool. I will give them that. Right now, there's not a lot of Carrera cars that I have my eye on. I need to track down a Group 5 Carrera car, maybe the Capri. I'm really liking that body style now. For some reason, I didn't used to like it, but it looks fantastic on a slot car. But the Carrera truck, the track cleaning truck, looks like a fun. Dave Slaughter has a great video on that truck. And so if you haven't checked that out, go check that out at Slot R. Go subscribe. He's getting ready to pass me in subscribers. So his channel is growing really fast. And it's because he puts out high quality content. He really thinks it through. Not like me, where I just get on here and talk for an hour and then whittle it down to 12 minutes. So his are very thoughtful and well planned videos. So he deserves all that. Tuning crap cars to run decently makes you a better tuner. Is Dusty a non-Marty Marty? No. Dusty will tell you he and I are nothing alike, which is probably why we get along so well. But we have some similarities. We are brothers, but I'm fat, he's skinny. It all starts there and goes downhill. Dusty is very non-Marty. Yeah, it's true. That is truth right there. He is not lying. But I do not have any of the fly trucks, but maybe down the road. Yeah, DeFingers, you're right. You can't overlook that. I will say I am not in a hurry to buy another Ninco. Just going to put that out there. I am very disappointed in the Ninco I have. I've got it running pretty good. It's not awesome. It's noisy. I don't love it. It looks great. They do a nice job on their bodies. But I think I'm going to be very picky about the next Ninco I purchase. But man, the fly stuff, I really do enjoy the fly stuff. And listen, we like to pick on them. They're great cars. They're just as soon as you take the magnet out of them. Jim Cunningham said something on a live stream a while back. Just remember that those cars were made with magnets in them to run with magnets. And so as soon as you pull a magnet out of the car that came with a magnet, then you're asking it to do a lot. And that's the fun part of tuning these cars is, can we pull the magnets out and still make that car get around the track in a hurry and perform well? Gene, no, I won't win, but I have a lot of fun getting my butt kicked. Well, that is a great attitude to have, Gene. And as long as you always go in with that attitude, you'll have a good time. Axel, Frankie, awesome. The True Speed controller. Frankie, you will be very happy with the True Speed controllers. They are fantastic. We love them. They are great for digital racing. Yep, you won't look back. You will be very happy that you ordered those. If you're running Carrera Digital, you'll want 6 of them. That's the problem. Because then everybody will fight over the True Speed and nobody will want to use the original Carreras. But question, I know you're talking fly cars, but are they comparable to SCX, better or worse? So I don't have a ton of experience, Nick, with SCX cars. I have, let's see, I have 2 SCX cars. One is an SCX LMP. Actually, that may be the only one I have. And I can't find rear tires for it. So I can't tell you how well it performs. But I know a lot of guys like the SCX stuff that they do, which is the rally stuff. And those all seem to perform pretty well. But I would say that SCX is probably not quite as detailed as Fly, but probably a little better performer from the chassis standpoint. But somebody else might be able to answer that question better that has a lot more experience with SCX. Frankie, you will enjoy the NSR stuff. That's good. Show me. Hey, Peter, welcome. I used to race coordinator for a long time on my 164th. Great piece of software. It looks like it is. I think I would be very pleased with how it works. I just got to figure out how what I'm going to use the time with it. And I'm a Mac guy. I don't have like a Windows laptop laying around. Well, actually, I do, but it's really, really old, and I don't think it would run Race Coordinator. I'm not even sure if it will boot up anymore. But I'm trying to track down a Windows machine that I can load it on and try it. So maybe I'll kick that laptop open, but it's like 10 years old. So we'll see. Only use it analog. Yep. Yep. I agree. You will enjoy that, Frankie. That's a good. Did you see Shotgun's hot rod today? Gladstone, yes. That thing is awesome. Listen, Dave is one of the best, man. He just has great style with his builds. Again, I love Harry's builds. George is at another level, but like those guys are building some really great cars, and it's got me itching to get started in scratch building. I still have to build this car, which maybe this weekend I may start the paint process and get the body painted and prepped and ready. And then DNA posted a video from the USA Nationals where he interviewed a guy that had all these scratch build cars. And man, some of the chassis that guy had built were really, really cool. So man, it really has me wanting to really try to do some scratch building. I like Race Coordinator use on my HO track. I gave it to Danny. Nice. Yep, it is. Yeah, man, Dave, it is incredible. Hey, Eric. Eric, did you get your coffee? Just checking in. Because when I sent the message to Trent about your coffee, he was headed on vacation, but told me that he got it out. So just checking to make sure. Let's see here. Who else? Hey, RW53. There are no bad slot cars. Some are better than others. Yeah, there's a couple brands that I just want to stay away from. Just not interested. But yeah, you're probably right. Slot car is a slot car. It's a toy. So have fun with whatever you've got. When the plastic hubs, it's time for aluminum wheels. So yeah, I just need to measure these wheels so I can order the right ones, John. And I think I saw where Stoffs make aluminum wheels, and they have a 5-spoke in black. And so that would match what's on it now. So that might be the route to take if they have the right size. Typical Cali attitude. Our Fly, Ninco have upgraded aluminum wheels. Yeah, I think that's the way to go. To upgrade his wheels. Hey, Shane, good morning. Welcome to the live stream. Let's see here. When the NorCal boys stop yanking your chain, it's time to worry. Yeah, I think you're right. They were giving Travis a pretty hard time, but it's obviously that they were enjoying Travis being there. There was a lot of hype around this race, and at one time I saw there was 199 people watching the stream. So it's the biggest slot car live stream I've seen. That was even more than was watching the 24-hour race earlier this year. Yeah, very, very cool race. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. How many of you out there watched any of that live stream? It went on for about 11 hours. So it was a long live stream, and I missed some of the early heats. I jumped on just in time to watch Travis race. Travis was in heat, I don't know, what were you in, like 5 or 6? So that means Travis qualified pretty well, 31st, I think, which was fantastic. that's a great showing, man. I'd have been nervous as all get out. I'd have been last place for sure. So, but that was the coverage was great. Like, shout out to Marco. Marco doesn't know me. He's not even aware of my channel. But shout out to him because he put together a really solid broadcast. All the camera angles, that above head, the fact that he's got a high enough ceiling that can get high enough to get the whole track. That coverage was great. Lots of great camera angles, lots of variety. It looked like it may have been just kind of switching on its own for a while at times. But then when they would do interviews, they would go to the one camera angle, and I know that they had some microphone issues with the wireless. I mean, you had 100 people in that room. Everybody's got a cell phone. There's all kinds of wireless interference going on. So I'm not surprised that if you got too far away, that the mic started cutting out. So they'll figure that out for next year or the next live stream, and it'll be great. But what great coverage! Like, seriously, like ESPN level coverage. I really enjoyed it. So I found myself, I went out and mowed the grass after church, and I got all the yard work done, and I came in and kicked on the Cincinnati Reds game, and I sat on the couch, and I really didn't pay much attention to the Reds. They played a doubleheader. I was watching the live stream and watching the heats. And then when they got to the semifinals and finals, I was locked in. So, but how many of you guys out there, hey, coffee? Yes, coffee. Roast coffee. Thanks, Dusty, for the reminder. We'll be giving away coffee tonight. So I'm going to try to do it before we sign off so that I can get a hold of people. It makes it tough when I sign off, and then I don't know how to get a hold of people when they win. So I'll try to do that better this time. But yes, roastcoffee.com. My buddy Trent sends you a bag of coffee. You get 25% off your first purchase, 20% off lifetime subscription, as long as you have the subscription. It's a great deal if you love coffee, and I think the guys can tell you if you've had the Brazil, it's really a really good bean. Makes great coffee. Had a cup of it this morning. Jeremy, welcome, man. Good to have you. Let's get rid of the roast. But thanks, Trent. I appreciate the sponsorship of the channel. Great people. I was there this morning to grab a cup of coffee on my way to work, and I walked in, and it's like home. Feel very comfortable there. It's an amazing space, and they were in there roasting beans, or getting ready to roast beans to ship out more coffee. So, yep, 2-line bench racing. Tuesdays with Marty and the gang, it's like going to the race and not racing, just hanging out and chatting. Yeah, Dan, that's what I appreciate about Tuesday nights. Jeremy, I hope you're doing well. Good to have you out tonight. But I'm gonna fast forward. If I miss somebody's question, please ask it again. But I'm going to try to get to the end. Chris H. Here in Australia, it's hard to get Carrera cars and some track pieces. Is it the same in the USA? Chris, Carrera is readily available. If most hobby shops that carry slot cars usually carry Carrera or Skeletrix or both. Now, Polycar is starting to trickle in there a little bit with their beginner sets, but their 4-lane starter sets have not really made it to the States yet. I know that there's one importer that's shipping them and selling them, but I think that he's buying them overseas and bringing them in and then reselling them. And I'm waiting for Polycar to actually start shipping them through their normal channels. But I would really like to get a 4-channel Polycar. I've talked a lot about that before. But yes, pretty easy to get Carrera cars and Carrera track here in the States. I think it's pretty easy with Canada because you've got Billy and Amanda killing it up there in Canada. And they keep a great supply of track and sets and cars. And so if you're in Canada, I recommend Sunday Slots. They take good care of Raul and Massimo. So, yeah, good stuff. But yep, pretty easy to get it here in the States, but I hear it's tough in Australia. So sorry about that, Chris. Blind dog. Nobody is fat or skinny in my world. uh, that's true. I understand. Ninco classics are the ones to have. Has anybody had the Ninco? What's the name of that? It's like their Speed Series, or they come with aluminum wheels. They seem to have a little hotter motor. I've thought about picking up one of those. Bruce had one, and I missed it. What's the series name? I don't know. Daryl, you probably know, because we talked about that specific car. Let's see here. I have a Ninco Mosler with 45K motor. Whew. That's a lot of RPMs. I'm not sure that my track could handle a 45K motor. From one Chris to another. Are they made to break as soon as you put it on the track? They are made to break as soon as you put it on the track. George, are you talking about Nincos? Hi, I just bought a Ninco Cobra at Cincy. Yeah, I've got a Ninco Cobra here. It's the red. You can't see it because it's out of focus, but it's John Marks, and we've never got it out and tuned it. Honestly, we've kind of it's down on the bottom. It's kind of forgotten about it. But yeah, that is a good choice, DeLeon. I think you'll be happy with that car. I think that car runs pretty good too. Marty, I think my AC Cobra is a Ninco. Yep. See, I need to catch up with the chat. I'm behind. SCX is a poor man's Skelectrics. Vin, thanks. I wasn't super impressed with the SCX that I have, but again, I made some tires fit and they didn't fit very good, and I blamed its performance on that. But I would say that it performed as well as the Fly car did, as the Fly cars do. Pat, you can do 4 wireless with 2 wired and 2 wireless and 4 wired. Yes, Pat, Nick, you're right. I'm doing 2 wired. Wait, I'm doing 2 wireless and 4 wired on my digital track. And there's a specific way you have to do that. So I posted a video a long time ago that said that you couldn't do it, and then somebody commented that, hey, they figured it out, and I probably need to redo that video at some point. But yes, there is a particular way you have to plug that unit in to get 6 controllers that way. But actually, I take that back. We're running 3 wired and 3 wireless because I have the Frankenslot wireless. Dave is a master. Yes, I agree, George. You're welcome, Dave. You deserve it, man. You build some amazing stuff. No coffee yet, probably any day. Eric, I'll check tomorrow. I'll stop in and see if it got sent. My guess is that Tim didn't ship it out before he left vacation, because you actually should have gotten it like 2 weeks ago. So, but I know that they're busy, and I try not to put too much pressure on him. He's sponsoring the channel, so. But I'll make sure it gets sent out, Eric. Question, Marty, who was that built the scratch build? The one that, so DNA on YouTube posted the video. I don't remember the guy's name, but if you go to DNA Slot Cars channel, he and Sasha, they interviewed this guy, and he was showing he had built this really cool Ferrari. He had a bunch, like a Chaparral and some other, and they were all scratch built, like Can-Am cars, and they just looked like they looked like they were fast, and 2, just some really creative chassis designs, which is what I love about the scratch build stuff. You know, George built his Rattle chassis. I was totally fascinated with that a couple weeks ago. It looks great and seems to run really well. So Gladstone, I will try to find the link to that video, but I think DNA released it today. So it should be staff wheels. Yeah, I need to figure out what size these are and get a set ordered. We use Race Coordinator at the club, and I use Magic Arc app on Skill Electric Track at home, and also Lap Tracks. Cool. Don't have any experience with Skill Electric Track. SCX has the brightest lights in the business. Marty reminded me that the other day, Dusty, I have been slacking. Oh, I missed it. You haven't watched any. Dusty hasn't watched any of that. Dusty, it's worth going out and watching Travis. It was fun to watch Travis race. And then the other thing would be just to go straight to the semifinals and finals. It's impressive. Those guys are quick. Electric Dreams, like Marty 2 or 3 years from now. I'm not sure. Marty reminded me the other day, too bad the mic died at the end. ESPN 8, the El Ocho. I made that comment. Jim Rose thought that was funny. Jim, I'll give him some credit. He was watching the comments and was giving some shout outs and saw me comment and shouted out and mentioned my YouTube channel. And I honestly didn't think I was on Jim's radar. Jim kind of does his own thing, and but it was kind of cool that he mentioned my channel and some of my videos, and I thought that was very kind of him to do. On that broadcast, it was fun. Hey Reese, welcome. Hope you're doing well, man. It's like our dojo. I need coffee. Yeah, I could use some coffee too. Yeah, I was, Sean, I was too, man. Like I said, the coverage was fantastic. It really was really good. Scott Marble, I drink instant in the morning. Don't know what good coffee is. Help. Scott. That's funny. My grandparents drank Sanka every day and loved it. I don't know how in the world you do instant coffee. Live stream was super enjoyable. Felt like you were right in the action. Bryce, I again, I know I've said this like 10 times already, but it was fantastic coverage. Shout out to Marco. I should probably send him a message. One, to introduce myself, but two, just to let him know that, you know, the rest of us out here really appreciated the passion he had to create that coverage. I know there's some frustrations with Electric Dreams out there in the community, and I get that. There's some things that they have a lot of inventory, and it seems like they hoard a lot of cars, and then you go look on their website and the prices are jacked up. But they have a ton of inventory. Like I said, they feel like they're the world's largest slot car shop because of just how massive their inventory is. But again, the race was pretty cool, and it would be great to see other tracks maybe not get to that level, but to up their level, because I think that you could get quite a few spectators that check in that want to see what other people are doing at other tracks. We all like looking at other layouts and see how people design their tracks. And that's what I really enjoy watching, is just what kind of equipment are guys using, what kind of controllers are guys using. That was one of the things that I wish that maybe Jim or Travis would have interviewed some of the other racers, just to kind of get an idea of what everybody was using. The hot car was obviously the Nissan. There were probably lots of orders on Monday morning or even during the race for Nissans, slotted Nissans. But the Jags were still fast. There was even some 962s. I mean, there was one 962 that made it to the finals, which me being the Hexcel guy and the Fat Turbo guy, I was like, heck yeah, it's good to see. Good to see the 962 in there represented. So you know that you can get these cars pretty fast. But I was watching the race, and they did handout motors, so everybody got a consistent motor, 23K slotted motor. And so I'm curious to know, you received a handout motor. How do you get those? I mean, those cars were fast. I mean, super fast. And so I'm really curious to know how you build a car that runs like that. Because I feel like I'm building pretty fast cars. Like my M6A is probably my best tuned car. It's quick. My Hexcel is pretty good, but it's not as fast as the Jaguars. My Fat Turbo, struggling to get it tuned right. I really need to spend some time with it. But how did they break those motors in that day? How do they, I guess that weekend, getting lots of practice laps in? But I'm really curious to see how those cars go so fast. They're running the track at 12.5 volts. And I feel like I'm running at 14 volts most of the time. And my cars could not touch those cars. So I'm super curious. I'm waiting for the video that Marco will do breaking down the winning car of Ian's. I'm really looking forward to that. I live literally a 2-minute walk from Billy. Frankie, that's awesome. We have a 4-lane poly car in the UK. Slot car 2021. I'm really curious about the Polycar track. I've reached out to Polycar a number of times. They're probably tired of hearing from me. But yeah, I would really like to build a 4 or 6-lane track. I'm really curious. I really like the modified figure 8 layout that Electric Dreams has built out of Polycar. It's a 6-lane track. I'm curious to know how big the footprint is, because that looked like a fun track. And I wish we would have gotten to see some racing on that. I thought that that's why they were building the Polycar track, was for the USA Nationals, but obviously it's not. So I'm just curious to know how they're going to use that layout, and I would love to see like that layout spec sheet, like how many turns and what radius turns and how big the footprint is, and I think I'm always curious about layouts like that. So. Just scored a Fly Porsche 9083 on eBay. Jim, if it's similar to this, you will be very happy. It is a great, great car. Let's see here. Freeze-dried instant is a polar opposite of what you said. Chris, if that fails, try MR slot car or show you slots. That was in reference to the fly cars, Marty. They do not call them bubblegum gears for nothing. Yeah, you're right. I think that tearing one down and like putting a slotted rear axle with slotted gears, you could probably make these cars really, really go. So George, thanks, man. I still haven't reached the bottom of the chat. I was watching the IMSA race. Now all I can think about is a Porsche 963 hypercar. Anyone make that car yet? So the 963, yes. Who is making the Scale Auto De Leon is making. They just released the white kit. I believe you can get it from Cloverleaf Racing. So check their website out. But it is the 963 hypercar. I have one coming. I don't know when I'm going to get it, but it looks really, really good. And the guys at the track that I race at say that it is a great performing car. So that's really cool. Scale Auto. Yeah, DeVinkers, get better, buddy. Patrick, Frankenslot Wireless, yes. Fantastic. It is a great controller. It's built on the DS body, but it is really a great controller. Really like it. Kind of hard to adjust. You kind of have to know what you're doing. There's some instructions online on how to adjust the power curve. You can adjust that, but the sensitivity. But yeah, it would be great to have 6 of those for sure. Clearwater, you watched about 20 minutes. It was a long live stream. I have a couple 963 Porsche hypercars. I'm starting now. Took you a while to track down decal sets. Jeff G, are they the scale autos? Just curious. Sanka. Oh, there you go. Jeff G, scale auto. Great. Let's see. Moondoggy, welcome. Taster's Choice. Whew. Now we're in a bad coffee discussion. Trent is getting sick to his stomach right now, and he's not even on the live stream. Gail Force, welcome. Good to have you. Steve Sweeney is in the house. Yeah, so I thought the coverage was great. It was a lot of fun. Steve's Nissan 89C came Friday. Yeah, Steve, that was the popular car. 5 out of the 6 cars in the finals of the USA Nationals were the Nissan. And it's funny, they were all last year the Jaguar. So it was funny how just, I don't know why the Nissan was quicker this year compared to the Jaguars last year. Everybody had to have the Jaguar last year. I don't know if it's a setup thing or nothing changed with the track, right? So, and the Nissan is not a new car. There's a new livery out, but that car's been around for a little while. Why was it not? Did nobody take a chance on it last year? Or did they just learn from last year and started looking at the specs of all the other slotted cars and realized that the Nissan was a little wider and maybe a little longer? That seems to be the advantage on that track, which is why the 962's probably not as quick. They're a little shorter wheelbase. So, yeah. Let's see here. What else? Marty, 12.5 volts, but higher amperage. Okay, Jeff G. So explain to that. They were running a higher amperage, or those 23K motors draw a little more. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm tracking. Hey, Barry Racing Club. Welcome. Good to have you. Eric Tucker, the track will be ready in 2 weeks. It's an awesome layout. Are you talking about the Electric Dreams Polycar? Yeah, man. I agree. Marty, Pendles sell Polycar 4-lane. Not sure if they ship to the U.S. Yeah, here, 132 slot cars in Washington, I think, is where they're located. They have both in stock of the 4-lane starter set. It's not a cheap thing to ship from the West Coast to Ohio. So I'm waiting for LEB or Slot Car Corner or Professor Motor or whoever else closer to me, so I don't have to pay so much shipping. So it's 6 lanes. Yeah, nice. Thought the Polycar track was 4-lane. Nope, it is 6-lane, and it's painted. The lane is painted just like their main track. Yes, the 963 is NSR Mosler fast. Nice, Jeff. That's cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm killing Marty. I'm liking the Peaky Blinders hair. Thanks. My wife doesn't like it. She hates it. She hates it because I do this all the time, I think. I'm always like trying to keep the hair out of my eyes. Let's see. What else do we have? Ives here. I need to recover my personal Gmail account. Gotcha. I was wondering. So, all the track talk I heard was all about the tires. Oh. So it was all about then. So a lot of people were using the NSR rubber, right? So it's all about tires. It's always all about tires, right? If you can't get traction, you can't go. It's the longest span between guide and axle of all slotteds. The Nissan is. Okay. So it's that triangle, that guide to the rear axle and the rear wheels. It's that triangle that's important for that track type. I finally reached the bottom of the chat. Higher the voltage, the lower the amperage draw. Okay, so at 12.5, they were drawing more amperage. Steve, I'm not a big electric guy, so that I'll have to do some research on that so I better understand it. A couple weeks, someone mentioned to do digital and analog for $20. Do you remember? Ives, are you talking about? I built a box. It's probably a little more than $20. It's probably more like $50 to $75, depending on what you already have. That switches my track from digital to analog, so I can use my analog controllers. So I released 2 YouTube videos the last 2 Saturdays that talk all about that and tell you how to build it. So when running multiple lanes, a higher amp power supply is a must. Good rule of thumb for 132 is 3 amps per. Okay. So which I'm fine because I've got a 10 amp power supply. It's a 30 volt 10 amp. And I'm 2 lanes, so I'm good. Greg, yes, I got you in on the coffee. We'll see who the random picker picks. I'll find a spot for a 4-lane polycar track. Would you replace this Carrera track if you got a 4-lane track? No. I love this Carrera layout. No, I would probably try to either build something that sits on that can raise and lower above this track. So I would have it in the same space. That seems clunky to me. I have a big attic space in this house, like gigantic. It's about 4 times the size of this room. It's the same length of this room, but width-wise, I've got about, 15 feet of clear span width, and then some posts. It's post and beam. And then I've got another 8 to 10 feet in the eaves where the roof drops. It's a pretty steep roof line, so I could build a large layout up there. The only problem with that is lots of traffic in my attic could possibly cause some cracking in my ceiling on the second floor. And I repaired some of that already, but I noticed that the more traffic that goes upstairs, so that would be the bad thing. The other thing that I'm looking at is I've been looking for a space to start a club. And if I started a club, that's what I want to do, is like a 4 to 6 lane polycar, I think, unless I could find a great wood layout to fit the space. But I'm not having any luck with cheap rent anywhere. So I did the box for about $20 plus power supply and controller. Cyberg, nice. Yep, it's not too expensive. If you get on Amazon and order parts, I went to Menards and bought the parts I needed. I know that I paid a premium getting them locally, but I had the controller. I wanted to try it that day, so I went out and and bought what I needed to build it so that later that day I could be running with the controller. So yeah, you can do it pretty cheap. Now it doesn't have all the frills. Just warning you, like it doesn't have all the frills of the nice boxes out there. It is a no frills, flip the switches, but it works. So let's see here. So it was Cyberg that did the box for $20. See, I'm not the only person that decided to do this. Hey, Raul. Welcome, man. Hey, no worries, brother. We all have lives. No expectation of you being here, but I appreciate you being here. Let's see. What else do we got? I remember something about the Barry Racing Club. It wasn't Marty. It was someone in the chat, and that's all. Let's see. Yeah, Cyberg was the one that built that. Patrick. Let's see. Marty, do you have a change his name to 4 lines? No, because the 2 lines doesn't have anything to do with slot cars. The 2 lines, I have 2 daughters, and their names are Madeline and Caroline, and so both of their names end with Line. So that's where the 2 lines come from. We were at dinner one night and throwing out names for the skateboard company side hustle that I have. I make longboards. I haven't made any for a while because I've lost my wholesale deal to buy trucks and wheels and bearings. But so, yeah, when we were trying to decide what the longboard company would be named, and so I just carried it over to the YouTube channel, and then 2-line slot cars, which makes sense, you got a 2-lane track. But that's where the name comes from. Marty, amperage is more important than voltage when it comes to electric motors. The more amperage, the higher the current. That's why the old timers would use car batteries. Okay. Because it would carry more amps. Got it. Let's see. What else? Scale Auto has a new track offering. Yeah, Greg, it's in Spain, so I think it's kind of hard to get here in the States. So you'd pay a premium for it. And the guys we're talking about, it has a green tint to it, so it's kind of an odd color. But it looks to me a lot like the same geometry that Polycar is. Maybe it's not, but when you see a picture of a track, I have to do a double take to decide whether it's Scale Auto or Polycar or Ninco, because I think the geometry for those tracks are all very similar. Yes, rent prices killed our train club. Just too much money for building space these days. Yeah, DK Moon, it especially for a space big enough to have a decent sized layout. I mean, I think if I had a club, I would want at least what I've got here, 8x24 or 10x20, 22, 24. If it was a wood track, probably a 30-foot length. So that's a big room, and it gets expensive. Yeah, commercial rents have killed many tracks. Yeah, that's what I think I'm going to run into. We've got some cool upstairs space here downtown Chillicothe. I think if I could run a deal where I did the cleanup and prepped it myself, that I might be able to get a deal on the rent for a little while. But if I subleased off of somebody that is not using the space above their rental, and it's empty and it has access, there is one location that I jokingly talked to them about. It's a mess, but it probably would work for a club, but it would take a lot of cleanup, man. It's just the building is in a mess. So that's the problem. Need a couple partners who love slot cars, and we're doing a commercial track for fun, not profit, at least break even. Yeah, Nick, that's how I would do it. it would definitely be like if we could break even, that would be fantastic. I don't really want to have a hobby shop, but I would want to be able to have some cars um, available for guys to buy, because if they walked in to check it out, um, ultimately the club would be about having fun and being able to buy a car on the spot, borrow a controller, and have some fun on the track would be great. But not really wanting to. The only way you can with hobby stuff now is online. That's really the only way you can make money at it. Scale Auto track kind of looks like vintage Revell track from the photos I've seen. Yeah. Maybe that's the track I'm thinking of, not Ninco, that it seems like it's a similar geometry. Let's see here. DNA has a video where Dennis Sampson shows all the tracks and how they compare. Scale Auto looks to be the same width as Carrera. Okay. So lane width. So you could run on Scale Auto, you could run 124, 125th scale cars. So that's the problem with Polycar is a 124 scale car is really, really tight lane spacing. So I'm not sure it works. Hey, DNA. Welcome, man. Glad to have you. We were just actually talking about one of your videos where you talked to Dennis Sampson about all the different tracks, and then I was talking about the one where you talked to the guy that did all the scratch building and had some really cool cars and some cool chassis concepts. That was really cool. So, but thanks for tuning in tonight, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. What else did we want to talk about? I talked about the race. Man, Ian was so fast. Pretty much had the car to beat all weekend long. He obviously was, the car that got the 5.9 in qualifying. That's screaming. Nobody got under 6 during the races, but there was a lot of fast laps, some 6.0s, 6.1s, and that seems to be cooking. I don't know what the lane length is on that track, but it was a lot of fun to watch. So I really, really enjoyed it. The fly repair that I was going to do, I have a problem with one of my rear wheels on this 908. Let's see. Every time I try to glue it, as soon as the car hooks up, it breaks free and comes off. And so the tip that John Albright gave me was to take some glue on a pin, and I guess I'll take the whole part. So take some glue on a pin, some CA glue, and line the inside of this hub really super thin and let it dry so that when I press it on, it's got a little more compression power, and so that hopefully that stays on. And so that will be what we try. So there we go. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get it cleaned up. This end scuffed up really good so that the glue has something to adhere to. And I'm going to try that tonight because this car is fast and I want to continue to, I want it ready to race. So that's the fly repair. The other repair, I think it's going to be, you can see how the hub is broken. That is going to be a new wheel. And so tonight I'm going to measure those wheels, order a set of aluminum wheels that match as close as possible, and hook that car up that Chris sent me. And yeah, John Albright, Ian swept the field. Yeah, I didn't think there was anybody touching him. Somebody said that he was running a third eye controller, and that was one of the things I wish somebody would have done was like get an idea of what controllers guys were using, because we all know that the controller is a pretty important piece to the puzzle when it comes to the slot cars and how well they run. And a lot of guys drop a ton of money on their controllers. Talking to Daryl today a little bit, he said that Steve, our buddy Steve from Louisville, he just upgraded from the DeFalco 302 to the 304, and says just how much better the braking is on the 304, which it has that newer brake circuitry, so it should be better, but that he likes his 304, and so makes me wonder, should I have went ahead and went for the 304? I love my 302, but maybe I missed out on something. So does anybody have the 304? Does anybody have the third eye? I know that the guy who owns Third Eye passed away a few months ago, from what I understood, but somebody took over. But I would like to get maybe a 301 or another 302. I would really like to get maybe a used one that I can do some mods to. I'm really interested through the research of what controller I was going to buy. I learned a lot about controllers, and there's some modifications I would really like to play around with that I think would be fun, but I don't want to do it to my go-to controller. So maybe I'll find a used one someplace and do the upgrades on it and see if it matters, if it makes a difference, or if it's all talk. Lightly scuffed the axle with 400 to 600. Yep, I've got a little piece of 400 right here. So you can sleeve the hub with brass tubing. Okay, thanks, Daryl. We'll try the glue first. We'll see what happens. Before I go getting too crazy. Let's see. There's always something better. It's like cameras. You can never keep up. Gotcha, Raul. I'm tracking with you, man. You're right. You can never keep up. Once you buy, then within a few minutes, you're out of date. The DD280, which I think is more of a 124 controller, I bought a couple extra networks to run the 132 cars. Jamie, I think that's really the only difference, right? Is that it comes with just a different network. Inside the controller is the same. He just changes. It comes with a different network. I guess I would ask Jim DeFalco that question. So if I could pick up a DD280 and then change out the network to the 290, is that what the network is for the 132nd cars? Eric, I think you're right. I think having the ability to focus, especially in that environment, I did notice that Ian he had headphones in. He had AirPods. Is that right? Headphones in, and he was probably listening to some music. He obviously was a real rhythmic driver, because the one race where he got caught up right at the beginning in that wreck, it took him a few laps to kind of get back into the groove again, which allowed Rick to get out in front of him, and he couldn't catch him in that one heat. But so yeah, it makes sense. A lot of it is between the ears. You like it, the 280? That's cool. if you want to fix your fly cars, the Home Racing World Archives has all those repairs on stock parts in this link. There's the link. Thanks, George. Yeah, I actually have watched and read a bunch of those, which might be why I'm getting decent at tuning a fly car. Harry was a wealth of knowledge. Daryl has helped me a bunch, and John Albright has helped me a bunch as well. So between those guys, should be able to get a decently fast car. It has the ESP brake relay. I tend to like a lot of brake. Yeah. I notice I'm running a little less brake than normal with the new controller. And I'm trying to decide if that's just I'm comfortable driving these cars on my layout. I'd be curious to see what happens when I jump on Butch's track or Cincy Slot's track, if that changes any. Ian was rocking the 80s. It would be curious to know, like, was he a rap guy or was he smooth jazz or what he had going on in the ears? Or was he listening to the NASCAR race? Ian was listening to 80s music, a different song for each race. That's great. I love it. I've never tried listening to music while I race. I am a rhythm guy. I play guitar and drums and bass and mandolin. Not very good, but I am very rhythmic. So it definitely helps when I get into a good rhythm. So maybe the music helps you get back on track fast. I think that's where I could see the advantage. Moondoggy, we've been talking about the USA Nationals at Electric Dreams. They did a live stream all day Sunday. It was fantastic. So, yeah. Marty, longboard company name, Thane Lines, slang for urethane wheel. Nice. I like it, Scott. There you go. You'll take a small royalty. No problem. I'll get that sent out to you. I think both Ian and Rick had less brake and coasted into the corners a touch. Yeah, I mean, I think that roll through the corner, and then they probably had a little bit of traction control so they could really accelerate through the corner without coming out of the slot. I mean, there were multiple races that, like, neither of those two guys came out of the slot, which is super impressive. I've only done that a couple of times, and I was being super, super careful and slow. So I can't imagine breaking lane records and still never coming out of the slot. It's just well-tuned cars, great control of a controller, you hitting your braking points perfect every time. That's hard to do. That takes a lot of practice and a lot of laps. It was a pretty impressive performance. Not gonna lie. Thomas, when you're racing driven, it must be a comment to something up above. I didn't see it. Ian and Rick are Electric Dreams regulars, right? So they knew the track well. I think Rick is. I'm not sure about Ian. I think Ian was sneeze. I think Ian was one of the NorCal guys, and I think they've been on the track before, but I don't know that he's a regular at that track. DNA probably knows. They both knew the track very well. Okay. They obviously had been on it a lot. I mean, yeah, I think that's why there were so many of those guys, the hometown guys, running that track, because they've got thousands of laps on that track. They're pretty confident on the track. But, I mean, I think just their weekly races, those guys are fast. They are really fast. That was the key. No D slots, consistently fast. Yep. I do Valair like New Bomb does on Hollywood nights when I run my slot cars. George. Bro, you're awesome. I love it. Too much brake can be as bad as not enough. Yeah, I think so too. It's finding that happy medium with the car, what the car likes, and then what you're comfortable with your finger, right? Um, Dusty, what are brakes? Yeah, that's funny. What John said. George, I should have 130 seconds in one of my vids. Dusty's learning. He's getting that controller figured out. He's running good laps, man. Really good laps. His Thunder Slot is a fast car. He's got Daryl all worried because Daryl's not sure if his M6B could keep up with Dusty's M6B. The top guys' cars ran super flat and fast, no chattering or sliding out. Yeah, that's what I noticed too. I mean, that's how good the live stream was, De Leon. You could tell in the live stream the cars that were getting through the turns fast and which ones were struggling a little bit. I need to concentrate and have my own rhythm inside me. Yeah, same here. The guys make fun of me because I kind of shake my leg, but it's like I'm hitting a kick drum. That's kind of what I'm doing in my head, and that will keep me in a nice, decent rhythm. And if that rhythm's good for me, I come out of the slot and go back in. I can jump back into my rhythm much faster. But if I'm not there in my head I'm not in a good rhythm in my head, then a D slot cost me so much time because I spend the next couple laps trying to get back in the groove. And so I think the faster that you can get back in your groove, the better you are, obviously, of getting back in the race and right back at it. Chinese bandits. Dusty is a shoe in for the most improved driver award. Yeah, totally. John, you got it right. If you've watched enough of the videos, he is definitely improving every time he comes over. He's getting more and more laps on this layout, and he's getting better about understanding what the controller needs, like tuning a car with the controller. And he's getting better at tuning cars. I mean, the M6A or B, the Thunder Slot, he kind of nailed it like first try, and that's been a problem all of us have had, where we've had to, like, we tune a car and we play with it and we move weight around and we do different things to try to get it the best we can. And then we take it to Sensei Slots and realize that we're still not close to the rest of those guys. But I think we're getting closer with each new car that we tune. We're getting a little better and a little closer. You only had one way to go. That's true. That's all of us, Dust. If you race a track all the time, you will be at a great advantage. I agree. That's why I thought maybe they were going to run the Polycar track. And so it would be a new track for everyone and to put everybody on a level playing field. But my guess is the guys probably wouldn't have loved all the grip that they get with the Polycar track compared to the wood track. It would have completely changed the way they tune those cars. I use one of the alcohol dispensers. Helps. With the two cans with the straws. Yeah. Got it, DNA. That's awesome. Good thing to know, Marty. I will be standing on your toes from now on. Yeah, that's right, Daryl. Yep. Just step on my toes and you'll be good. Oh man, it's 9:33. Dang. Did we accomplish anything? We didn't even fix my fly car. But no, good stuff, guys. What else did I say that we were going to talk about? Fixing a fly. So we talked a little bit about that. Mostly about answering questions, I think, tonight. But then we talked about the race. I felt like there was one other thing that I mentioned in the description, but it's all good. No changes to the layout anytime soon. We still love this layout. I am going to do some painting maybe this weekend on some of the corners. I really love the far corner that I've got that painted, and I've got a nice sharp berm around the inside of the turn. So I think I'm going to add maybe a corner to look like Spa, and then maybe a corner that's Laguna Seca and uses those colors, and then I don't know, Lama, and then maybe I don't know. I keep looking at pictures. The Spanish Grand Prix has great. They use red and green, and so I thought maybe I'd use that in one of the turns. So it won't be consistent around each turn. Will have sort of a theme. Hopefully, it won't be too distracting. And it'll be fun. But that's one of the things I have for the layout. Probably do some more work on the box, the digital analog box. I want to add a call button. Right now, the call button is the power switch, and I want to move a call button over here so that when the race coordinator or whatever timing program I use, it'll end up over here. That'll be where whoever directing the race will stand, and I want a call button there, and then I would also like a call button back over here. So I'm learning how to wire that into the system. And what else? For right now, that's it. That's all I've got going on. So we'll wrap things up for tonight, guys. This has been great. Hot cars on the track. Oops, wait. We always accomplish things. When I race Mini Zs, someday I will look like Walter. Greg, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Those are kind words. This is a lot of fun for me. And I honestly, here's the thing. I love hanging out with you guys. It would be awesome at some point in our lives I get an opportunity to hang out with you in person. Maybe not all of you at once, but I would love to have a chance to meet you guys in person. I've got a couple of trips coming up that I'll throw out there as I get closer, and maybe I'm close to some of you guys, and we can grab coffee or we can grab some lunch and chat and catch up, or maybe meet at a track if there's a local track. So we'll go from there. But DNA, I'm considering painting my whole track. Having spoken to Dennis Sampson at the weekend makes me even keener to do it. DNA, I would love to talk to you about that, because I know some people that have painted their Carrera track and it's added a lot of grip. I know some people have painted their track and it hasn't. The paint that I'm using to paint the corners doesn't really add any grip. It's not worse. It's not better. It's the same. So I feel good about that. But if I was going to paint the whole track, I would want to make sure that I'm adding grip, not losing grip. So if you have some ideas on that, I would love to talk to you about that. Tuesday chat is reserved watching. Thanks, Gladstone. Glad you're here, man. Yeah, John, I agree. It does make it fun. There's always a takeaway when we're all here. Thanks to Fingers. To Fingers, get well, man. We're all rooting for you, praying for you. Hopefully you're back at it and doing some racing soon. Frankie, your track is all painted. That's cool. So guys, I hope you have a great week. DNA, when are you coming to Texas? Oh, Texas. I don't know if Texas is in the plans. It could be. I've got one thing that might happen that could get me close to that. But I know I'm coming back to Colorado. I know I am going to Florida, and I know that within the year, I might be in Germany and Switzerland, and possibly Italy. So I don't know. My wife and I have a big anniversary coming up next summer, and we are looking at doing some traveling for that. Europe is a possibility. If it's not there, then maybe I'll be out there in California and in that neck of the woods. And I know there's a lot of you that are out there. So if that happens, then we will definitely have a meetup, maybe at Electric Dreams or one of the other tracks. Maybe we can hook up with Jim Rose and get to one of those tracks that NorCal guys get on. That would be fun. So, Eric Tucker, I'm going to check on your coffee, bro. Giving away coffee. Let's do it. Let me copy and paste all these things in. Give me a second. Copy, paste. So everybody who typed coffee in, and which narrows the field, and submit, and our coffee winner. Oh, this feels like it's rigged. Scott Marble, you are the coffee winner tonight. Send me an email at thet5guy@gmail.com. THET5GUY @gmail.com. The T5 guy. Send me a message. Let me know. I'll send you coffee. Thanks, Scott. And guys, go have some fun racing.